ZIZ Radio, entertaining the nation, enjoyed by the world.
Tune in for Policing with You, a half-hour radio program every Thursday morning at 9:15 on ZIZ Radio. Join host as he focuses on crime, factors contributing to criminal activity, crime prevention, and how the community can assist the police in reducing crime. It's Policing with You every Thursday morning at 9:15 on ZIZ Radio. Join us.
It's just about 18 minutes down after the hour of 9 o'clock, and we now get into national security policing with you. I bring you the lovely Inspector Shauna Edwards. Good morning.
Good morning, and how are you?
Wonderful.
All right. Good morning, everyone. My name is Inspector Shauna Francis Edwards. And in the studio here with me as my guest, I have Superintendent David. He is no stranger. He always comes in. I have also Fire Officer. He will introduce himself and his rank, Mr. Timothy Martin. And I also have in the background, not too far away, he's still a part of us, Mr. Livingston Pemberton. Good morning to all of you and welcome.
Good morning to everyone.
Good morning to you.
Everyone.
Right. So before we get into what we have to speak about, I will let them introduce themselves to you formally, starting with Mr. David on my right.
Okay, good morning to everyone, Radio Land and the various social media platforms. I am Superintendent Lyndon David, the Divisional Officer for Division A, that's here in Bastia area. So you could say from Rosgut, go straight through Bastia down to Lodge Gut, over to Frigate Bay, Monkey Hill area. That's my division. I'm also the liaison between the police force and NEMA, and I'm the coordinator for the tsunami warning focal point when it comes to this type of disaster preparedness and mitigation.
Thank you, Mr. David.
Good morning again, everyone. My name is Timothy Martin, and I'm the Acting Deputy Fire Chief of the St. Kitts and Nevis Fire and Rescue Services. I am here in the capacity of exercise control for the Carib Wave exercise. I've been working along with these fine gentlemen for some years now, so I'm looking forward to getting this exercise going.
And Mr. Livingston.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Livingston Pemberton. I'm here as the National Disaster Coordinator, and it is an extreme pleasure to be here as we continue to prepare our Federation for comprehensive disaster management.
Thank you, gentlemen. Now, in the introduction, Superintendent Mr. Martin would have mentioned Carib Wave, and Mr. David would have mentioned tsunami. Now, that's the whole reason why we are here this morning. We want to bring awareness to you with reference to changes in the climate that causes certain reactions that has never been part of the Caribbean, and we have to be prepared. So we are here to bring you information with regards to tsunami drills and the Carib Wave exercises that we conduct every year. Now, who is responsible for activating the team, or how does the team becomes activated?
Normally, once we have the tsunami warning exercise, the Carib Wave exercise coming up, we have the National Disaster Coordinator. He will do all the activation and put everything in place. So I will just let him just say a few words on what he has there for now. But I just want the general public to know is that it's not the police or the fire thing, it's NEMA.
Okay, thank you very much, Superintendent David. I just want to let us know that when it comes to disasters and their response, we are adopting a whole of society approach. And I want to let you know that while NEMA is a coordinating agency, NEMA consists of all of the other entities around, all of the volunteers, and I want to thank them in advance for the Herculean work that they do over the years. As Superintendent David would have said, Caribou Wave is an exercise that is done to test our readiness in the event that we are impacted by a tsunami. There are certain protocols that need to be followed, and so we tend to test them from time to time to see where there are gaps, where we do well, where we are not doing so well, and after that there would be an after action report which would identify what the gaps are so that the next time around we can improve and become in a state of readiness or stay in a state of readiness at all times. So again, we want to just appeal to all of the stakeholders, all of the actors who will be participating to be on alert, make sure that your SOPs are in place because they will be tested for Caribou Wave 25.
Thank you, Mr. Pemberton, for that big mouthful. With reference to the Caribou Wave, this is something that is done on a regional or international level, or it is just a preparedness undertaken by NEMA?
Yes, some 48 states within our region will be participating in this exercise, so you would recognize that this is not just isolated or focused on NEMA here in St. Kitts. All of the territories throughout the Caribbean will be participating in this exercise.
Thanks. How often does this exercise come about? Once a year, twice a year? How often?
Well, if I may, looking back, let's say a span of a decade, it has predominantly been around March. There was 1 year that I think it went over into June. But looking back at the history of it, it has predominantly been in March.
Okay. I just wondered because 2 consecutive years I was having policing with you and we had to do the Caribou Wave exercise. So we had to shut down the station and have all these warnings going out, you know. So that's why I asked the question.
Around March.
Yes. How many agencies are involved in these exercises? I know we have police, we have fire, we have NEMA. Are there other agencies that are involved?
Yes, indeed. We have also a disaster management department in Nevis. They will be coordinating all the scenarios over there. We have the schools, and we also have other government department or agencies involved. And cross sections of society as well.
Okay.
So apart from the first responders, so to speak, along with the coordinator, which is NEMA, as headed by Mr. Pemberton here,
yes,
we'll be just testing a good cross section of our society because tsunamis, as we know, they're not will just target a small area, a large area. So our national response is indeed necessary in a scenario like this.
Okay. Thank you. How does the public receive this information? I know that there has to be some prior to. So how do we prior to the public?
Okay, first, as I mentioned, as the
to the public.
Okay, first, as I mentioned, as the tsunami warning focal point, it will warning focal point is
sure.
Focal point is
sure.
It is an sheer tsunami information, and the tsunami warning focal points are parts of the global tsunami warning system that coordinated by the Intergovernmental Oceanographic Commission. Now, it is a 24/7 operations part of government, and so therefore it is the police telecommunication department that was selected here in St. Kitts and Nevis. So once they receive the tsunami message, it will be analyzed see if there's a threat to us. Whether or not there's a threat to us, the information will still be passed on to NEMA, disaster, and it goes right down to the responders.
Okay.
And then if there's a reason for an alert to society, then there's where the coordinator along with the Prime Minister will make that notification to the general public.
It's a lot of procedures. I hope that we get the information quickly.
It runs fast, actually. As it comes, you
Okay.
analyze it and you pass it on, and then by the time we reach it, we say, okay, we get a message, and we get the time when we get the message, and we will be impacted. The estimated time of arrival for the first series of wave, you will get that time. So we tell us whether that we have half an hour, 2 hours, or 3 hours.
Yes.
And if it's a local tsunami, well, we have to go with the physical warning. That means the shaking, the severity of the shaking,
Of the shaking,
and the length
yes.
of it, and where it took place. If it took place in shallow water, more than likely we can have a tsunami.
Right. For those who are listening, maybe you may not be familiar with what is a tsunami, but briefly, Mr. Livingston, could you give us an idea? I know we are somewhere in the program, but since we are mentioning tsunami and we're mentioning shaking, it means earthquake. Give us a short synopsis of what is a tsunami for our listeners.
Okay, I'll try to make it as simple as I can.
Yes.
What we can have is a receding of the seawater.
Okay.
If for any reason you see the seawater going in the opposite direction, do not allow your curiosity to get the better of you, but move far away from that situation. What could cause this to happen? We may have an earthquake somewhere happening in the ocean, somewhere far away from us, and this can trigger that phenomena in nature where the seawater tends to go back on itself, and then later on it's going to come back
Forward
to the shore. And that is when it becomes very dangerous, because sometimes persons are very curious. They might see fish just there on the shore and they figure they can just go out and pick it up. But that is very, very dangerous. We are saying if you see the seawater receding for any reason, you need to head to high ground. And that, in a nutshell, is what a tsunami is, where we have waves that are more than 3 feet, sometimes 10 feet in height, depending on where you are. It can reach up until 15 feet. And so we're asking persons that if for any reason you recognize that the seawater is receding, please head to high ground immediately.
Thank you. We'll take a break. We're at our halfway point. We'll take a break, and when we come back, we expect the radio listeners to get in on the action, call in, ask questions, and I believe that my ably guests will be able to respond appropriately.
Babe, we can get up to 100% financing on a land loan with CIBC Caribbean.
Really? No down payment?
With 15 years to repay, it's so affordable.
Now we can finally move forward with the land we love.
Get up to 100% financing, half off the loan application fee, and up to 15 years to repay a land loan. Plus, CIBC Caribbean will give you $675 towards your valuation fees. Promotion ends March 31, 2025. Terms and conditions apply. Visit CIBCFCIB.com for more information.
Hey, guess what? It's Radio Market.
Call in and sell your merchandise. You can negotiate and negotiate, give and trade.
We on radio, internet, and TV.
Like us, share us, and subscribe to
ZIZonline.com.
And remember, we don't sell nothing over $5,000. Join us every Saturday morning at 10 o'clock right here on ZIZ Radio. Call 465-6120, 465-1903, 662-8674, or 718-577-2916. ZIZ Radio, giving back to the people.
Tune in for Policing with You, a half-hour radio program every Thursday morning at 9:15 on ZIZ Radio. Join host as he focuses on crime, factors contributing to criminal activity, crime prevention, and how the community can assist the police in reducing crime. It's Policing with You every Thursday morning at 9:15 on ZIZ Radio. Join us.
And good morning. Welcome back to Policing with You. I am your host, Inspector Shauna Francis Edwards, and my guest are Superintendent David, Divisional Commander for District A, Deputy Fire Chief Timothy Martin, and Director of Disaster
Coordinator.
Disaster Coordinator, Mr. Livingston Pemberton for NEMA. We were discussing about getting prepared in the event that we should have a tsunami. We had explanations, and we are looking for you to call in to ask questions, because we know that this is a burning issue for a lot of us, because when we hear these horns and sirens, we want to know what they mean. So in future, when you hear them, you have an idea and you cooperate with whatever the exercise is about. The number to call ZIZ Radio is 662-8674. So we will continue with our conversation. What are the key steps individuals should take when they hear about a tsunami warning?
Well, one of the things I would say that.
Good morning, caller.
Good morning, esteemed panel. I listened intently to Inspector David's presentation as he spoke about the agencies involved in the response. And I'm wondering if the agencies like the Red Cross and the Amateur Radio Society are not considered affiliates in the whole process, or if they're just seen as being in the background. I would have thought that they are partners in the whole process, especially as far as communication is concerned for the Amateur Radio Society and the important role that the Red Cross plays. So I am just seeking, a little information, in my ignorance, so that I can be enlightened. I will listen off here.
Thank you, caller.
Okay, and just to address the caller, once we would have received the information that we are under tsunami watch or tsunami alert, the national mechanism will be activated. And once the national mechanism is activated, all of the subcommittees associated with the national program will be activated, and those include all of those that you would have spoken about, as well as others. So notice will go out to all of these to report to the NEAP. The NEAP will be activated, and all persons will be expected to report for national duties.
Thank you, Mr. Pemberton. Good morning, caller.
Good morning. I just want to know how far inland can a tsunami wave reach? Okay.
All right. Thanks, caller.
Well, caller, that's a good question, but I would say depending on the slope of the land. If you have a flat land, it can extend even up to 2-3 miles inland. But if you have a slopey area like St. Kitts and Nevis, like going back in the countryside, like say for example, Lodge Project, Keon, those areas will be safe. But then when it comes to Bastille and all those areas who have the coastline nearby, more than likely they'll be impacted. So thus far our projection, we're looking at 2 miles, but there are times when it can proceed beyond that, depending, like I said, the slope of the land.
If I may,
yes.
the our projections, we looked at projections up to a 100-foot wave, and NEMA would have some maps with the indentation marking as to how far a 100-foot wave would impact us. So for the Bastia area, the safe zone is by the cemetery lands. That is up by the airport itself, just outside the airport fencing. So once you reach in that area, heading towards New Road, the Monkey Hill area, the St. Peter's area, then you are initially the safe zone for the Bastia area. So if you take a look at those maps carefully, it would indicate where the safe zones are throughout the island, and it would enable you to get to safety.
Thank you.
But in most instances, head to higher ground. Head to higher ground. You cannot go wrong. Head to higher ground. So thanks for the call, caller.
All right. Okay. How do we ensure that the schools and businesses and residents participate actively? How do we ensure that? I know you say that we do have persons that come on board and practice the drills. Do they get the information beforehand, or like the principal will give them information as to we will have an event coming up, and how do we get them to participate actively?
I don't know if Mr. Pemberton want to answer that one.
Yes, I will answer this question.
Yes.
While we will not give all of the details as to the exercise, because if we do that, we will really lose our effectiveness.
Okay.
But on a constant basis, we've had information being disseminated to the different entities. And that is why I would have mentioned earlier, we are going to be testing protocols. We're going to be testing some standard operating procedures. In the event that you hear the siren, in the event that you get the information saying that we are under a threat, what do you do? All right?
Yes.
And so we'll be able to check these to see whether you did what you say you are supposed to do. If you did not, why were you not able to do it? And so we will identify what the gaps are, and we will strengthen those going forward. So the purpose of the exercise really is to see how well we do what we are supposed to do.
And just to support what the coordinator just said, is that the managers for the institutions, they will get the message, but it's expected that, let's assume we get them, I'm working Rams is participating.
Mm-hmm.
It is expected that I, as the manager, whether you run and you come by your dog food, once I'm going to activate my protocol, you now become part of the exercise. I will inconvenience you for a while, but I will just explain to you, this is the exercise and part of our protocol. Everybody must clear the supermarket, and we're going to assembly just behind courts, just for the exercise. But normally, you as Deputy Fire Chief just said, you go up to the assembly area.
Yes.
So it's just to ensure that all of society are also participating and they know what is to be done.
And if I may add as well, it comes with planning. In order for you to effectively carry out a drill, you have to plan for it. Yeah. So we know the schools them are on point. They often conduct drills, whether it be tsunami, fire drills, etc., earthquake drills. So they have a plan. Now we have to encourage the businesses as well. Sometimes it's not all about making the dollar, because when these type of hazards reach our shores, then we have to shut down. So at some point in time, the businesses they have to think about their safety as well. What do we do if in the height of conducting business? How do we go about shutting down and getting to safety? So planning is key.
Yes. Thank you, gentlemen.
So I've seen some signs around. This is tsunami signs, but I'm not sure if they explain what they are there for. And I'll tell you why I say that. I can see some down on the Bay Road, but I've seen as far as Timothy Hill. How those two signs coincide? One is on the low ground, one is on the high ground. But they both say tsunami, watch us, tsunami, something like that.
Okay, one. Okay, for example, Timothy Hill, the one at Timothy Hill, I'm not sure, but because of the height, that might be a safe zone. The one at Timothy Hill, might tell you, is an impact zone. So therefore, because if you look at it carefully, the one on the Bay Road, those that are in you really see where a man like running up a hill.
Running up a hill.
So they're now
Yes.
telling you run to the highest point that you can reach to.
Just making sure. You see the tsunami?
Yes,
yeah,
the
you
waves.
you see the waves.
Yes. Oh, I'm glad you bring that up because
They need to be explained more.
yes, yes. I'm glad you bring that up because it shows that you're observant when it comes to the tsunami, and you are basically grasping the knowledge. So we want persons out there be like Rascal. When you see them, get closer, observe what is there, and if you do not know, you can
Ask.
call Nima and ask. Or you can go online and see what they're all about as well. Yes.
What it means. And like I said, the two of them, two different ways.
Yes.
How do they coincide? Is it?
Yes.
Thanks for the explanation.
You're welcome.
And it's important for us to indicate here that this exercise will be done in the Federation. So we'll have activities both on St. Kitts
and on Nevis.
On Nevis. And hopefully we'll have a call from our counterpart in Nevis, Mr. Dyer, to just give us a quick, brief idea as to what might be happening on Nevis. So we are waiting to call for Mr. Dyer over in Nevis.
Yes. In the meantime, what role does the fire department play in tsunami preparedness and the responses?
So we have multiple roles. One is preparation. We have to prepare for the unlikely event of a tsunami. Then we have the response, emergency response phase. And then we go into the recovery phase. So the preparation phase is having a plan. In the event of a tsunami, what do we do? That plan includes going out and alerting persons via any means necessary. So on our trucks, we have sirens, we have megaphones that we could actually talk to the public.
Yes.
So we would drive around in addition to the messaging alert system that would have been activated by NEMA. We would go around letting the public know there is an impending tsunami, they need to get to higher ground, etc. Then the recovery or the emergency response, all of that is in part of that. The recovery phase now, at some point in time, we ourselves have to get to safety. So at the most convenient time, we would leave, get to safety, and then we have to now come back after the waves would have receded.
Yes.
We would go back into the impact area to see if we could rescue anyone who are trapped, etc.
Yes. I smile when you say that at a convenient time that you have to save yourself, because I remember we did a drill in Old Road, and we so concerned in getting people out of areas and all of that we forget even ourselves.
Yes.
And I'm like, but then if we save all these people, then we're gonna die now, because there's no time left for us.
So
that is quite important.
Someone who has a bit of an advice or an idea that she would like to put up.
Okay, sure.
Okay.
Hey.
Good morning, caller.
Oh, you ready for me?
Yes, good morning.
I'm getting a feedback though from my end. Yeah, I just wanted to make a suggestion, right? I'm thinking that since this thing concerns the sea, the beach, and so on, why not target a beach day when there would be many beach goers, and you do some awareness there? That is the real reality of things. You're on the beach with a matter that concerns the beach and people who are using the beach, and at that point in time, you just, not in a way to scare them off, but to let them know. We're just creating awareness, let you know that this thing is real, tsunamis are real, and in the event that you're ever here beaching any day, and you realize that the water is receding, want to higher grounds, because it's going to come back with a heavy blow or whatever you want to call it. And that is really the tsunami. So the long and short of what I want to say is that maybe the reach out can be done on an actual busy beach day, like a holiday, and you do your thing, rather than on the radio when now everybody is listening or the persons who may be listening are the persons who don't go to the beach. But once you're on the beach, you're really reaching out to beach lovers or people who are using the beach at the moment, creating the awareness that you really, really want to get. That is my suggestion.
Thank you, Carla, for your contribution.
Good idea.
Good suggestion,
Good idea.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yes,
They
yes.
do those things in Miami and stuff, where with the public speaker, and they just start an event of shark.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Water, all that kind of thing.
Nice. But that's a very
That's a
good
real
suggestion.
good suggestion by the caller. Yes.
That call from the person. Let's see, I think they might be calling them.
What improvements have we made in tsunami response over the years?
Well, I would say we continue training at the Tsunami Warning Focal Point.
Yes.
Our force responders, every year we're getting the experience. And then on NEMA, well, Mr. Pemberton here will speak for himself, but at the end of the day, NEMA also improve its coordination, and the persons who are responsible for being part of the coordination effort, they are more supportive and willing. So at the end of the day, we see where if for some reason we have to activate our mechanism because we will be impacted, it is more than likely that we'll be able to mobilize sufficient persons. The challenge could be, depending, say, sometimes you have dead hours. Those are the critical times, the dead hours, the 1 o'clock in the morning and the
2 o'clock.
2 o'clock and the midnight. So therefore, it's a lot of work.
Yes.
So those are the time. But in the dead time, that we'll be better respond, in a better responding mood. But I will yield to Mr. Pemberton.
Just to answer that question, we have been working very hard with the schools, both on St. Kitts as well as on Nevis, where we are getting that generation to understand what a tsunami is, what they are supposed to do in the event that they are told that we've been impacted. They know how to get to high ground. They know that they're supposed to be moving in an orderly manner. And from time to time, we test these by having simulation exercises. And so that is what we are working on. We are even going as far down as the preschools, where we are getting the persons there to understand that their situation is a bit unique because they would have little children, and so they have their techniques as to how they would evacuate the entire school and get to higher ground. So that is what we're working on. We are going the route of education. Those who do not have plans, we are encouraging them to write plans, not only write the plan, but to ensure that all of the persons become aware of the plan and they know what part they play in the plan. So those are some of the steps that we've taken thus far.
And those are important.
And
very important.
Frequently we do have training at the Tsunami Warning Focal Point, because especially when there are new employees there, we want to make sure that everybody on the same level, so that the messages can go out, reading the message and interpreting it, and disseminating it in a timely manner for the appropriate responses.
All right.
I would dare to say as well that these drills are not just there by chance. The more you practice, the more you get better at it. So each time the Federation practices these tsunami drills, it is able to point out key areas that needs improvement.
Yes.
When I look at Japan, for example, Japan is an area that has some devastating tsunamis, but the people on a whole, they practice drills so regularly that it becomes a part of them. So my hope in all of these drills is that the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis would take pattern from Japan, so to speak, in terms of even at a very tender age, they're instilling in them the need to do drills, participate in drills, get to safety, etc.
Good morning, caller.
Good morning. I want to take a look at the issue of where you have public buildings and other buildings which have a system in place that includes you logging in or signing in when you're going in, and signing out rather when you're coming out. For example, government headquarters, maybe the Social Security building and some of the buildings like that, which are in pretty low-lying areas, right? What I want to say is that at times when you enter, and I'm speaking specifically now of government headquarters, you are required to sign in. But there seems to be a lack of vigilance when persons are coming out. So that if at any time there is an impact like a tsunami or whatever it is, and the person who is supposed to pick up the book and run with it, they have information which is inaccurate, it could cause problems for first responders or second responders or third responders who might be going in to do a rescue operation. So I thought it might be important to point out that your outfit, your department, your team needs to sensitize those persons who are manning those stations, letting them know the importance of documenting everybody going in and documenting everybody going out so that you don't end up wasting resources looking for people who might have left the building without signing.
Thank you, caller.
We make a note of that.
Right. What challenges do emergency responders face during the actual tsunami event?
One, it would be in my estimation. Traffic. Persons might tend to use their vehicles to get to safety. Mm-hmm. What I would say pertaining to that, take a look at lunchtime or even around 4 o'clock when persons are leaving to go home.
Mm-hmm.
What does the traffic in town looks like? How long do you wait in traffic, especially at some intersection, for you to actually get out? Mm-hmm. So imagine it ain't just a section of Bastia, it's all of Bastia being evacuated. Mm-hmm. If everyone was to jump in their vehicle to try to get to safety, you recognize the chaos that would create.
Yes.
So in my mind, that is one of the biggest, I see that as the biggest challenge we would have.
I agree with you.
To support what Mr. Martin just said is that many people will say, okay, I want to go for my child. I want to go for me this. I want to go for me that. I want to get out quicker. But you'll find that everybody in that pandemonium, you'll have traffic jam, mm-hmm. and you never reach where you want to go. Right. So everybody's supposed to do the evacuation for a tsunami in an orderly manner and foot go to higher grounds. But also too, in terms of the exercise, one of the challenges we do face that some persons will say, okay, I know what you're all about, I think I know what to do. And then you will have some agencies as well. They will say, okay, we have our protocols, we don't want to participate, we know what to do. But we're saying the more you practice or the more you activate your emergency mechanism, better you become, so you can assist, 1, your employees, 2, your customers, and 3, your business. How do you safeguard things? And then you respond. So you fit into the national mechanism in terms of saving lives and responding appropriately. So that's one. I could give an example. I remember one time we had something on the bed by the ferry terminal, and there were some persons reluctant. They said, we know what to do and so forth. And they wouldn't move. Mm-hmm. But still there are other persons who understood and they participated fully. So those are some of the challenges that you would find. And then another one you could have, whilst we are exercising, a real event occur that will have to pull away the emergency responders. It could be police, it could be fire. And in that way we have to break or close down the exercise to facilitate the real event.
Yes.
So I said that just in case anyone has a concern whilst we're exercising a real event occur, how would you deal with that? We have our mechanisms to address that as well.
Yes.
It's interesting that Superintendent David said about persons wanting to go for their children.
Mhm.
Now, what I want to encourage the general public that the school practices evacuation drills constantly.
Mhm.
So the time it takes for you to get to your child's school, your child would probably be on its way to the safe area.
Yes.
So in my estimation, it is you heading towards the safe area rather than heading towards the school. The school would already been evacuated.
And that's a good one.
Yeah, they said they're trying to call you, but they're not getting through.
They're not getting through.
Okay. Tell them to I was on the. So you only got one line.
Yes. How does NEMA? There we go. How does NEMA collaborate with regional or international agencies for tsunami preparedness?
Somebody else, but it's somebody else.
Good morning, caller.
Good morning, and how is everybody today in this studio? Good morning to you all.
Good
morning. Good morning.
We're doing fine.
We're doing fine.
I love the thoughtfulness of you all. Prematurely, I say that because people think it is, but all you are doing all that is needed to do would be done and should be done in case of emergency. What is preparation? And it should be standard, not just the schools. Every workplace, homes, etc. should practice safety, which is first and foremost. The fact that someone mentioned about last year having to be so low, but we all must remember that Basseterre is below sea level. You hear that? Basseterre is below sea level. Significantly, I would like to just explain, based on what I know, because of a bit of reading I do about tsunami, that body of water is not like the flood in the biblical term. That body of water travels at a speed across oceans with dependent of water depth, but the height is minimal in deep water, increasing significantly. You heard the word significantly? As they approach shallow coastline, Basseterre is shallow coastline. I admire you all and respect all you for what all you have been doing to educate and inform the general public. Tsunami is not just water from a pipe. It's deadly. Have a good day. Thanks for listening. Goodbye.
Thank you.
Thank
caller.
you
Thank
for
you very
your
much,
comments. You have another one?
No.
Okay.
It's not as fast as only one line. So
Yes. So the collaborative regional and international agencies for preparedness.
Yes, we are part and parcel of the regional organization, which is SIDIMA. And so they help to coordinate all disasters within the region. We also partner with the University of the West Indies, where they're monitoring a number of sites. In the event that we have earthquakes, they will notify us and let us know what is happening. We also work with our international partners, and that is why Superintendent David would have mentioned that the police is the focal point.
Yes.
The tsunami warning system, I think, is in Hawaii.
Yes, yes.
Right? So
Yes.
once something happens there, they will notify us to the police, and then we will activate our protocols here.
Good morning, caller.
Good morning. And this program is a good educational program. The next program I wanted to call you all to bring on in the future is volcano eruption. But this tsunami business, you tend to play with you. I see this tsunami, bring down skyscraper, Yeah, in other countries,
Yes.
Tsunami bring down skyscraper. And you know what they call a skyscraper? You know the height of it.
Yes, yes.
And we see water move there. So we said nothing to play with. But I want to bring on like a program for the volcano in case of eruption.
Yes.
Educate us with that one. So, okay, thank you.
Okay,
Thank you for your input.
caller. I would just like to say to the caller that based on what they said, the tsunami waves, they travel like a jet plane.
Yes.
So imagine the force And it's basically a large displacement of water in the sea, a lake by, it could be an earthquake, underground volcanic eruption. So it shows that the force it comes, but as the caller mentioned earlier about how far it goes in, it depends on the slope. I said, as it start to make the land, it start to slow down.
Yes. Good morning, caller.
Yeah, good morning again. What is in place for the disabled?
The disabled?
Like the blind, the deaf, people with amputee, those who are in wheelchairs, those who are bedridden, and them sort of stuff. What is in place for those set of people? All right.
Okay, thank you very much, caller, for your inquiry. We do have a society that is charged with looking after persons who are differently abled, and part of their plan, part of their preparation would first to identify where these persons are located, so that we know in the event that we are to be impacted by a hazard such as a tsunami, that we will need to mobilize and have these persons transported out. So this goes back to what the Deputy Chief would have been saying, planning, knowing what your plan entails up front, knowing what hazards you are exposed to, what are your vulnerabilities, and then being able to activate your plan in the event that we're exposed to a particular hazard.
And also too, with that, your home plan, because if those persons are home, family members also need to know, how do I assist my disabled, less abled family member to safety?
To safety.
Yes.
Right. Thank you, callers, for all of your questions. They will take on board even your comments as well and suggestions. Yes, we will take them on board because tsunami, everybody will be impacted, whether directly or indirectly. And we are happy that you could be a part of our session this morning. However, we are running out of time, or we are out of time, and I will just give my guest Daya on the phone.
Yes. So Daya? So Daya?
Yeah, morning.
Yeah, good morning. You're on the air.
Hi, good morning, everyone. This is Brian Dyer, Director in the Nevis Disaster Management Department. We are here currently preparing the island of Nevis for the tsunami exercise. We are meeting with our stakeholders, and another team is meeting with the persons with disabilities. So we are trying to get the entire island, those persons who are located in the tsunami warning area, to be prepared for the exercise of next week.
Okay, thank you very much. How have you prepared the schools? I know you talk about the persons in the community, otherwise abled or disabled. How are you getting through to the schools and maybe the other like hospitals, and so how are you getting through to them?
We go physically to each business establishment. It's over 100 businesses and entities within our communities, and we also did personal visits, and we also had information rendered on social media as well. So it's a comprehensive method of getting the information across.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Dyer.
You're welcome.
Right, so I will just give my guests a minute to wrap up, and we will be out of here. Mr. Martin.
Yes, ma'am. So my encouragement to the general public would be have a plan in place for whether tsunami and the various hazards that are out there. So don't just do one plan, have a multi-hazard plan which would incorporate the different hazards. Once you have a plan, you have to then practice that plan, which means conducting drills like what we are planning to do pertaining to the tsunami. And then you can, involve all aspects of your family. So include the children, include your parents, etc., whomever you live with, include them in the plan. Make them be a part of it, so that would make it even more successful.
Right. Mr. Livingston.
Thank you very much, Inspector Edwards. I would just like to appeal to the national community. First of all, understand that if we are to be impacted by any hazards, then the entire country would be impacted, and we are appealing to have a whole of society approach. We want persons to understand that we need to take these simulations, these exercises seriously.
Yes.
As someone once said, how we exercise is how we will play when the time comes. And we would want to be in a state of readiness so that if we are impacted, that we minimize the impact that such a hazard would have on our federation. So again, I want to appeal to all whole of society approach we want. Thank you very much for your kind cooperation in advance.
And finally, Mr. David.
Everyone, there will be some disruptions, maybe in traffic, and we're asking persons, when you see the signs and so forth, yes, you may have some motorists and pedestrians might be curious, but follow the directions given by the police officers who will be on site. And also too, that just to remind persons that a tsunami is a series of waves in the ocean that sends a surge of water, sometimes reaching heights over 100 feet, 30.5 meters inland. And also that they're caused by volcanic eruptions or earthquakes. So we are saying to persons that the more you learn about tsunamis, don't just wait for us, but there are a lot of information out there on the internet. Learn more and see what your response could be, and put family plans and business plans together in terms of response. So once again, we want to thank you for supporting us over the years. And those who are still wondering, just get on board and participate in the little way you can. Whenever Mr. Pemberton and his team and myself and Mr. Martin come, let everyone be alert and assist this national event. Thank you.
And thank you very much, gentlemen, for taking the time out of your busy schedule. I know you're all busy people, so am I. But someone has to do it. We have to educate our public as to what is happening, what could happen, and help them to prepare for such, if such incidents should happen. We thank you to all the callers for your calls again and for your contributions, and without you our show would not be what it was this morning. Thank you again, and I wish you Godspeed.
Thank you very much for having us here.